exclusively on StreamBlast, we're talking about another video game-based, but not video game-based, movie-based? No, not movie-based, graphic novel-based streaming series. That's Scott Pilgrim. I am your host, Brian the Baltimorean, joined alongside...
Canine Biscuits.
What's happening today? There's always something goofy, and that was like a deadpan delivery.
I had like an extra frowny face, like I was making this funny.
It's like you were looks like you were delivering the news. Canine
Biscuits.
Tonight at 11.
Tonight at 13. Tonight at 26. Tonight at 26. Tonight at 25 o'clock.
All right, this is getting out of hand. Anyway,
tonight at actually no, there's no 24 o'clock. Tonight at 24 o'clock.
Tonight at 24 o'clock. We're reaching.
There's no 24 military time.
We're reaching.
It's only 23.
We're reaching. Now, usually we talk over and over about, hey, StreamBlast is one of many podcasts you can check out. All I'm going to tell you here is, look, man, go ahead and check out the rest of what we have here at StreamBlast Society. We have video games of blasting truck reports. We've got an animation conversation and cartoon chat. We talk about big theatrical movies over on ScreenBlast. And of course,
we talk about big booties
and big booties and a good time with Mark and Bryan Have a Cow. So you have a lot that you can enjoy that releases at least once a week right here on ScreenBlast Society. So we hope that you guys check it out. But without further ado, we're just going to run right into, of course,
a wall.
Scott Pilgrim.
Run right into a wall.
Scott Pilgrim.
Oof!
Scott Pilgrim takes off into a wall. Now, before we go ahead and dig deeper into Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, I just want to quickly give a little rundown. Of course, the original run series ran from 2004 all the way up to 2010. And, of course, in 2010, much bigger point, had so much massive success during that run that it had a movie. It had a video game alongside it in 2010. And that was just a massive point of Scott Pilgrim popularity.
Oh, I thought the books...
huge. But what's up?
I thought the books came in between. I thought the movie came in between volumes of the book.
I know it wasn't done. No, it didn't. It wasn't done when the movie was being written. It wasn't done, and I think and also it wasn't finished when the movie was done as well when it was out. So yeah, it's the book. The graphic run wasn't done yet. So what we have here.
Well, it was good advertisement for the book, actually.
Yeah, no, it just throttled it. It absolutely accelerated the popularity, and of course the game did as well. That game is definitely thought of as one of the best in its genre. Still, it's still a very good job.
And for some reason, Ubisoft didn't hang on to the license until much later.
So what happened was, it was delisted, and we remember this because we were there when it happened. And you were paying attention to it especially.
Oh yeah, I championed my 360 because I have a copy on my console. Yeah, I have value.
And then you didn't have value but for several years, this was delisted completely from any online game store. You couldn't get it, and the problem was that it was an online only thing, right?
Oh yeah, and then they re-released it.
And that was 2021 when it came out.
And I bought the game for a second time like a sucker.
Well, I bought it and for the first time on Switch, so
same.
It was a great.
It's a great. There's a reason I bought it. It's special. It's a great fucking. It's such a great game.
Absolutely,
I love it too much. Probably, I wouldn't say it's one of the best chiptunes. I think it's the best chiptune soundtrack I've ever listened to. That game's soundtrack is fucking bossily.
Man, that's cool. That's cool. Again, I'm not one to know. I'm not one that delves into that genre too much.
It's a fun beat 'em up. I played better beat 'em ups because it's like a remix version of River City Ransom.
Gotcha.
Or the Kuni or another Kunio-kun series.
Gotcha.
Which is another Japanese beat 'em up. That's what River City Girls is based off of.
Okay.
I like River City Girls better than Scott Pilgrim. It obviously came after it and improved some stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's still a fun beat 'em up, especially for the fact it's 4 players. It's a fun multiplayer time.
That's the other big thing about it. Yeah. The time that it came out, its significance at the time, and the multiplayer fun you can have with it it's sprawling. So it's a great experience.
Again, one of the best soundtracks in video game history. It was I feel like it's top. I can't make. I haven't made a list in my brain of top video game soundtracks, but that's definitely in the top 5.
Yeah,
probably top 3. Fuck.
Well, for the movie, now here's the thing. I'm not someone that really knew about Scott Pilgrim at all. And by the way, I watched it only once, and that was probably around the time it came out.
In a theater?
No, probably post. But I'm going to be honest. I don't remember it. It wasn't something that caught me at all in the pop culture craze. It never caught on, and I enjoy the games. But again, like it never reached me. Even though it has a lot of character, a lot of personality in that movie. There's something special about that movie, but it never captured me for some reason. But what about you? Because I mean, it feels like Scott Pilgrim much more significant for you, obviously, growing up at the time.
Oh yeah, I love the movie. I didn't think much about it when it was like coming to theaters. 'Cause I wasn't that much of a nerd and everything. But like, I mean, as I am now. But like, but.
It's gotten worse, Mark. It's gotten worse.
It's gotten worse. But like when I saw it on DVD, because like it looks interesting. Cause I never saw it in theaters, but after I saw it on DVD, I was like, that shit's good. And I wish I want to give myself amnesia and just watch it in the theater for the first time. Yeah. I still have not seen it in the theater, but like I've watched it at home plenty of times. But like it's a great movie, and like I wish it doesn't. I'm not saying a movie needs a sequel. It shouldn't. It kind of ends fine. Right. But like that, I need more movies edited in that style. There's definitely movies that are like take some inspiration from Scott Pilgrim, but there are not many movies directed in that style, in the exact kind of style that Scott Pilgrim is.
I think the poppiness that the film has, you can draw, and I always recommend checking out Speed Racer. Not exactly the same tone, but in terms of the saturation at times, the way that the colors pop, the editing, the pacing, all of it, it's not exactly like Scott Pilgrim at all, but it's something where it's close, and I definitely would say, for anyone that's out there, give that a watch. It's definitely worth it. I'm talking about the live-action movie that came out, I think, in 2008 or 2009. So
I want more live-action movies with, like, experimental editing like that.
Oh, dude.
We got, like, a lot of animated movies that try to, like, definitely take inspiration from Scott Pilgrim, like Spider-Verse movies. In terms of editing, they definitely take some inspiration from Scott Pilgrim. Absolutely. Same thing with, like, I think Mitchell vs. the Machines, which is, like, from, I think, almost the same team.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean from Spider-Verse, of course.
Spider-Verse and Mitchell vs. Machines.
Not Scott Pilgrim, but Spider-Verse.
I think they take inspiration from in terms of editing.
Like, yeah.
They take some inspiration from Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not confirmed, but I feel like there's some inspiration from there.
Yeah, it feels like, by the way, so now we're getting into, obviously, Takes Off.
I'm sorry. I read the books. I read the books because, like...
Oh, you read them, the whole run?
You know what's funny? I read all the way up to the last chapter.
Okay, because why didn't you... what's up? Why didn't you
because the books are good. The books are really good. They're good. It's a good story. It's the extended version of because the movie is like... The movie fucking retells the first chapter very well. Okay. And then it just speeds through the rest. Then it just speeds through the rest of the books. Okay. And if you play the video game does go through the events of the books very well, because you'll notice there's like a lot of things that, like, you're going through a lot of things that aren't in the movie. Those, like, the events you're going through in the games are very close to the book. Cool. So it's more inspiration from the book than the movie, which is fun. I only haven't read up to chapter 7 because it's one of those things where, like, I was on a high, and then it was like slowing down, and I was like, I'm I only got one volume left, and I got distracted by other things. Yeah. So that means the high was over. So I was like, I never really got to it. Also, I don't really remember much, but I do remember, like, the books being fun. The books are fun. I just remember the books are fun.
That's awesome. That's all that matters. And again, I think that they took off by storm for a reason.
Yeah, there's some characters that don't get a chance to shine in a movie. That they're just like they're kind of there, just kind of reference that you get more character out of in a book. But like, we're gonna get to the series. You do get more if you're just a fan of the movie and you just only watch the movie, you get more out of them in the show too.
Cool. All right. So obviously, Takes Off gets announced, and I think this is the thing is a lot of people wanted, as much as they love the movie, and of course as much as they love the game. Obviously, a lot of people over the years have talked over and over, hey, it would be great to get an actual animated series that sort of followed in this design of Scott Pilgrim, the novel run. So, what we have here when Netflix announced this, it was huge. It was massive. I think it was almost like just, obviously it's not the biggest thing when it was the biggest thing in the world, but it felt like it. It felt like there was this tectonic announcement when they did debut for the first time that this was actually happening. I mean, there was a lot of hype around this, you know?
Oh yeah, there's because people still remember the movie very well. It's still a great movie.
Yeah.
I think this started because who's the actor of Scott?
Michael Cera, man.
Michael Cera responded to like an old post from like years ago, like an old message thread.
Right.
And like I guess I forgot the other part of the story, but out of that, I guess they remind him like Scott Pilgrim is a thing, and he just started working on the series from there.
Yeah.
I remember for promotion of the movie when it was coming to theaters, Adult Swim made a little Scott Pilgrim short, and it was like retelling like a part in one of the books, and it was about how how Scott met Kim or something like that.
Right.
And it was a fun little short, and like people like.
This was an animated short.
This was an animated short, and I think it was rumored that there was supposed to be a series out of that, or some kind of series of it for Adult Swim. Or like it should have turned into something, but like people wanted, or I think also it was rumored they were supposed to have more shorts, but it was only that one.
It was literally like, if you want to compare, it was like the Deadpool moment. Like I think when you saw that first drop, it was like when we saw the Deadpool test footage leak, and it's like, oh, let's get a full thing of this, please.
Oh yeah,
like it's like, can we get a full thing of this?
Yeah, because I think after people saw the movie was so good, people kept going back to that short and like, there could have been something made out of this.
Yes,
could have gotten more.
Absolutely.
Also, sadly, the movie fucking bombed at the box office.
Yeah, it's got a cult following. That's unfortunate.
The thing, when it comes to these bombs, we never really hear its success after its theater run. So I'm pretty.
If you go to there's numbers. I think it's buythennumbers.com.
Okay, I have to imagine it's successful after its theater run.
Yeah,
in terms of rentals and shit.
Rentals. DVD and pods. Just post, physical sales,
merchandising, whatever. Because it got me into the book series. I'm pretty sure that's more money for them.
Absolutely.
The fucking game.
The game as well. The game especially. I mean, I can't imagine what numbers it did after its second re-release there in 2021, of course.
I think because ever since like superhero movies became a thing, nerddom has only gotten bigger and bigger, and because like there's so much more information on the internet than ever before, like. What value does the word nerd even have? Because like everybody is a nerd. Even people who don't have the stereotypical like
nerd cliche type thing. It's like you still know
just like even like it's for a better word, like a term. Even ratchet people have some nerdism in them because they just get this information from the internet because information is just too easy to obtain. So everyone's a nerd.
As someone once said, when everyone's super, no one will be.
Yeah, so it's like because even like every Marvel thing, it's like what is that? Phone, what is that? It's this. Oh, sorry, let me put it on the screen. Phone, what is that? It's this thing. And it's like, oh, that's the thing from the thing. I know that now. Yeah, it's like everyone has that information.
Yeah, everyone can now sort of get into these niche things that used to be unique before. One example is like think about how awkward, how uncomfortable and sort of secure you had to be when you were a nerd when the first season of Big Bang Theory came out versus the final season of Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Completely different worldview, at least in America, where people are just like, hey, like, it's out in the open, everyone knows, like, it's cool to be a Star Wars fan. It's cool to be a Marvel fan. It's cool to be this or that. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool to like anime now.
So the point I'm trying to get to is, like, I think if this movie came out now, it would be big. Because people will get more references and shit.
And I think that's
people see that like, oh, it's a thing. Oh, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. That's it. That's a thing. That's a thing. But that's it. Wait, what is that? That's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah.
And I think that's why this has become such a major deal here over at Netflix. Takes Off obviously came out earlier this year on Netflix, not too long ago, obviously. And here we are. It's an 8-episode series. It's developed, of course, by the same duo behind the actual graphic run. And that's, of course, Brian Lee O'Malley and Ben David Grabinski. This was produced over at by more than a couple teams worked on this. This was over at the studios of Science Saru, the Universal Content Productions, Mark Platt Productions, and Complete Fiction.
Is Sayu like an anime company? I know they made some anime.
I believe so. And of course...
so is this anime?
Not necessarily, because this is also under Universal Content Productions, which technically is Universal, like the American broadcast.
Because it's some weird, because there's anime is such a broad term nowadays.
I don't. Yeah, people don't look. I lost. Everyone used to fight against like the big fight for me. Obviously, I think for a lot of us was Avatar, and it's like, look, I don't really care. Yes, Avatar is technically a cartoon. If you want to be
anime tropes, but like it doesn't make it.
And you could at time, and like obviously Boondocks borrows heavy from anime at times, but it's not, like so. Anime literally is just cartoon in Japanese. So like it's anime. It's literally just it's short for animation.
Also, it's weird because we also have some like cartoons that are animated by Japanese, like the New Adventures of Winnie Pooh. That was animated by Walt Disney of Japan.
Yeah.
There's some episodes like TMS. They were Japanese studios. They, animated Akira and such. They're strictly Japanese studio.
Right. They
animate some of the best episodes of Animaniacs, Batman, the Animated Series, Tiny Toon Adventures, DuckTales.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, there's going to be outsourcing and there's going to be, like, coordinated work, and so the line gets blurred. And I think at a certain point, like, this idea of, like, hey, like, Japanese animation is better than... It's like, no, like, we're at a point now where it's a global thing. It's been a global thing for decades. And we can kind of lean off of that. There is always going to be that sort of battle.
It's such a broad term. I even know some people that like use it as like a fucking adjective. Like my fucking old weeb roommate like fucking says like when like it's so good it's anime. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense.
But what's funny is 10 years ago it's like anime would have been, or not 10 years ago, but maybe 15 years ago it would have been like anime would have been looked down, not up. Now it's anime. It's
because everyone's a fucking nerd now because they have access to the internet.
Yeah. So, let's get into it. Alright. So, Mark, this has been quite a journey here, and I just want to spend some time talking about this because, what let's talk first off, let me pull up my Switch again, I would say, if I were to say overall what I liked about this, what I think about this is like, this... Again, the way that this looks, it looks like it's pulled straight from a graphic or comic. It has great music. It feels like it's genuinely as good as some of Netflix's best anime. Obviously, it's not what Netflix makes, but what they distribute. But what's on their platform, it's as good as something like The Great Pretender, or Midnight Gospel, or Scissor 7. It's as good or better at times than some of the best stuff that they have on this platform. And it's great to see that this adaptation worked so well. It's beautiful. It's awesome. It's cool. All these characters are just amazing, and it's a great journey. This 8-episode run, by the time you get to the end, yes, it feels complete, but it also feels like, man, like I love the world that we just went into. It's very much to me, something like FLCL, Fully Coolly on Adults, when that aired on I think it was Adult
Swim. You're talking about the first one, right?
The first one.
I haven't seen those other ones. I heard it doesn't reach the
every highs. Time they do it, it just gets worse and worse.
How many of them they made? And it's not by the same team, too.
They did Progressive, and then they did something else, and it's like...
they got another fucking new one, too.
They have a new one, and they don't use even they're not even close to the animation style of the past anymore. So it just fell. It just, I have no interest in going back and looking at it, because nothing's going to be how that felt, and...
I was almost curious, but I have too much shit to watch. So.
I have too much, yeah. But I'll go back and watch Fully Coolly, that first run.
I want to give it a chance. I'm curious. It's using that fucking IP, so.
Yeah, but I don't want to look at it because I don't want to stain what I think of Fully Coolly. It's like Star Wars for me. Like Star Wars has faded a lot. I'm good with fading Fully Coolly. I like what I like with Fully Coolly, but the core piece that all I'm here to say is, I think that Scott Pilgrim, it gives me that vibe because all of these characters just feel like genuine people.
Maybe I do.
It's so well defined.
Maybe I do want to stay in it though. I'll watch it. I'll watch it on a day I feel in the mood to get mad at something.
There you go. There you go. All right, Mark. But yeah, tell me what overall what you think about this. We'll obviously dig into it, but what do you think overall?
Awful. No, just kidding.
The look, the stare into the screen. Oh man.
All right. So first of all, spoilers. But anyway,
yeah, thank you.
Because the first episode's a goddamn spoiler. Because I am glad for what it's fucking not. Because I was happy that it's getting a happy that I was getting a fucking
Adaptation.
Netflix adaptation. When I saw 8 episodes, I was assuming either this story they're going to extend it, go more into depth, like maybe like a volume per episode. There's 7 episodes, but there's 7 volumes, but there's like 8 episodes. Or 6, I forgot.
8 episodes.
No. So how many volumes of the actual
volumes,
books?
gotcha.
I think there's 7.
Okay.
7 or 6. But like there's more episodes than there are volumes.
Right.
So it could be either going through the volumes in full detail and probably adding some, and like probably like leaving some space for season 2. Just like not going through the whole story on purpose, you know, because fucking animes do that.
Absolutely.
Get some filler in there, or adding some more story, or like just going through the book slowly, because again, the first episode, and again, just like if you're familiar with the fucking movie, it just adaptates the first volume just to a T very well, just like the movie, because like the movie, it starts with a very like close adaptation to the first book, goes through. After that, it speeds through the rest of the volumes in terms of stories. And again, this first episode was just I've seen these beats, I've seen this before, I know the beats. It's fine, but it's like it's cool. It's like that like to watch that it's animated, but it's just like the same predictable story again. So okay, I'll see what I'm in for. Just like I guess I'll get more characters. I'll get, because I haven't seen the books animated. I've seen the movie, but like all right, let me see that. And then like it does have bait and switch at the end, which I'm like, what? Okay, he's like they changed it, but like
that's what I was curious about is like you've read through from most of the run. This doesn't follow.
No, it doesn't. No. I told you, it does not. This is not the books at all.
Okay.
The movie does follow the books, but it speeds through them. It's like, it's speeding through the rest of the volumes. Like I said, the first 30, 45 minutes of the Scott Pilgrim movie, it adaptates the book, it adaptates the first volume to a T, and then it speeds through the rest. Just like this first episode. And after that, because that doesn't happen. Scott, just like in the movie, beats that guy, and then he moves on to the next Evil X. This is like the bait and switch where Scott is seemingly dead, defeated, and I'm like, oh, it's a dream sequence. It's like he's just going to be alive. There's going to be some fluke. This is like a bait and switch. It's just going to be like it's like a quick dream, somebody's quick vision or something. Yeah. And then like, no, I was just like, I just couldn't believe the next episode. No, they're still going with it. No. They're still going with it. Where's Scott? Oh, he's just not present for most of this goddamn show.
Yeah, they just keep it chugging, and they just keep it chugging.
And they changed the story up so much, and nobody is being defeated. No one is dying. The evil X's, you're getting different scenarios, and like the story is like, this is like we are watching a different timeline of the Scott Pilgrim story, and it's so much more interesting of that. Wow. And then we learn by the end of the series, this is the story, this is not a different timeline. I mean, it is, but like the timeline we read and watched, it did happen, right? But the Scott from that series of books. Like, he went back to change the timeline, because, like, defeating the 7 Even X's ruined his relationship. Yes. And, like, so the story is still canon. It's just, like, he just went back to change it, because, and it makes sense as both, like, a retelling, and a sequel to the original story.
Yeah, it's one of those, what do they call it? Legacy reboots or whatever? Where it's like, it takes cues from, obviously, the film production there, and just sort of, like you said, creates a new timeline because what I was curious about is, while I was watching this, is, like, from what I remembered of the movie, it was like, this is not an exact retelling at all. This is absolutely a completely different look. And you get a lot more, you get way more interesting direction with these, with what were the villains of the movie. You get to spend more time with Ramona dealing with these characters, with the X's. We get more definition. Obviously, a movie only has a certain amount of runtime, but we get way more definition with the cast that was around Scott, and it's beautiful because, again, I think what is always important in a series, in a show, in any sort of media that's telling a story is to strengthen the characters as much as possible, especially when you're going to be around them for a long time. And what you get is characters that are so much more well-defined than you could ever imagine. Obviously, except for probably in the actual books, or maybe not, because, as you've said, even in the books, you don't get as much definition, maybe. But
you do get definitions from some of the side characters and stuff. But like in this series, you're getting more definition out of the evil X's more than anything, because just like in the movie, like you saw, it's like they do get defeated, and like after they get defeated, that's kind of the end of their story. But like, I mean, you get more character out of the evil X's in the books and the movie. But like in the show, you get completely different scenarios with the evil X's, which is even more character out of them. Like, you get to see like a different side to the vegan character, because in this show, he's like horny for Wallace. Yeah. That didn't happen in the books. That wasn't into that in the books at all either.
You wanna go over notes in the trailer? You wanna go over notes in the trailer? Yeah. Let's go over notes in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, there's so many just great moments, like that you can just go back and obviously just makes this series like what I would say timeless. Again, timeless in a way similar to, again, FLCL to me, Fully Cooley is one of those, the original run, is one of those where it feels like I can watch that at any point in time. I could show this to anyone at any point in time. And it's just got some timeless quality to it because it's telling a story that's very relatable, and everyone around it is relatable, and everyone's going through something that's just human. And this is another example of that. That is just another great journey with just, great elements. And I don't want to, man, episode, like you said, that first switch up in episode 1 where he just dies, and then you have scissors, I think, or knives, I mean, where she's like
scissors.
Sorry, I was saying scissor 7, and then like my brain, similar objects. So where it's like, she's like, where's Scott, basically? He's like, there was no, where's the show? It's like, there was no show.
They also make more comments that that was kind of problematic with some of the original book and movie, where it's like they address that yes, Knives is way too young to be dating Scott. So yeah, and they address that in this show.
This wasn't well,
because the movie was released in the past.
2010 was still quite a.
It was. But
no,
I guess it was the backlash in hindsight.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that definitely, because even in 2010, look, we were in high school, and they're the early part of the 2010s. There, it's even then we even knew the rule. It's hey man, don't be stupid.
Because Scott is a 23-year-old dating a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And he says, oh yeah, and the show is that's kind of frowned upon. That's nothing wrong for that.
No, it's not even frowned upon. It's what the fuck's wrong with you?
No, that's what he says.
Oh yeah, that's kind of frowned upon. Yeah, but I love though. You get these again. There's too many moments.
Oh yeah,
there's too many moments. But I gotta bring up again just the quick line. There was no show. The bass player was punched to death.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about the movie that was makes so great. So many before we had all a bunch of movies that were reference fest.
Yes.
We had fucking Chip and Dale, Space Jam 2, whatever, Ready Player One. Before we had all those reference fest movies, we had Scott Pilgrim, where it's but it was more subtle with it. It had it played around with references with sound effects and little little visual Easter eggs. I giddied like a little lad when every time I hear a sonic warp sound effect in the movie, which they use a couple. They use a couple of sonic sound effects in the original movie.
By the way, I do love the remote. Of course, in translation immediately, but in episode 1. never gets old. Where it's like, is that like where he's wearing the obviously X-Men jacket? Is that a Sonic thing or something? It's like,
oh yeah. Oh yeah, that like in one of the second to last episode, that was totally me. It was like there's like two Scots. Oh, don't say anything about Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic, yeah. and like especially in the party when he's first talking to Ramon, like Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm like,
yeah.
but like
And by the way, beautiful moment. I love the way that it's literally 1-to-1, but it's like 1-to-1 in terms of remake. But again. Another good example of just like, hey, like, love the way that they directed it, and goes back to, again, when you talk about human moments, you can just feel the anxiety through the line delivery, through the way that
oh yeah, in the original movie it was a different fact. In the original movie, he was like, remember Pac-Man? Well, in the, they changed, he wasn't always called Pac-Man, he was called Puck-Man, but they had to change the P. They changed it to Pac-Man because they assumed people would change the P and turn it into an F. They understand they couldn't go with that.
I love what they use for Sonic, because they use Sonic as sort of a joke about the fact that he's playing the same character again. And obviously he will be playing the same character. He will be playing himself basically 3 times in the same in this series when older and much older Scott come into frame later.
Exactly. That's a funny thing about it.
Absolutely. So,
but anyway, like the movie like has a bunch of references to a bunch of nerd shit, of nerd culture and shit. So like the show was smart as into just because I was expecting just like, all right, let's get our reference fest on. Come on, give it to me. And it's like the show does have a ton of references. But a lot of them went over my head because it does have some references to games, some references to games, some references to comics. Not as much as the movie. This show has a lot more anime references. I can't. A lot of anime shit blends into me, so I can't like pick it out. And it's like just like not as much game references, which is games and comics references, which is good because so much fucking media does that already.
Yes.
Right now. So
you're not like we talked about earlier. You're not there's no wit to doing it anymore because it's everyone does it.
Everything does it.
Everyone's doing it.
Nerd culture is at an all-time high. Everything references comics.
Again,
comics is everywhere.
Yeah, once Free Guy did it in the most generic form, like it's like that was just a generic Disney property IP. It's like and it was just an IP fest. Like it's done. Cool.
This show has like. Yeah, because everything references fucking comics.
Yes.
So it's good that the show doesn't stop its story just to give you just a phone in a reference. And the references are just like the movie, very subtle.
Yeah. If they're not subtle, they're quick. Like we have, of course, the classic Back to the Future skates, 88 miles an hour. I love that, and it's just in there, and that's it. Boom, cool. I like that.
They will name drop shit that exists, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I do love in this, of course, again, is the music. This has maybe some of the. This is again, when you talk about a series that is great in all elements. Got to talk about the fact that the series is one of the. The series has some of the best music in almost any. And of course, we're not talking like orchestral and all that shit, but for what tone it's going for, it's fantastic. The music's great.
Oh, it's the movie. The music is great reference. Like I love the soundtrack they chose. Even the licensed songs. Like one of them made me laugh, and that's whatever.
I was gonna episode 4 where Chris Evans, Lucas' character. Yeah, when it starts out, whatever.
like I just love that song.
I definitely need to find that fucking song, man.
Pause it real quick.
Okay.
She's all like, "Hey, aren't you that dude?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So later, I'm at the pool hall, and this girl comes up. She's all like, and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever."
And we're back. Yeah, whatever. But no, it's a.
I'm up on the beach and I'm wearing my leather, and it's like, and this guy comes up to me like, "Hey, punk," I'm like, yeah whatever. That song, because the animation of the skateboarding is good, but like the whole time, this is my first time hearing the song, I'm just fucking cracking up to this song.
Oh yeah.
This song is fucking hilarious. It just like how he's like, it just like stops every time he's just like, yeah, whatever. And this goes like, and he just it gets faster and faster with every whatever.
Yes. This is that opening of episode 4 is fantastic because obviously you get the tone of his carefree personality, of where he is at least at that point.
It shows
the tone of the carefree.
It shows a flourish of their animation because for the regular talking scene, it's all right. It's like
it's all right.
like
it's fucking.
No, it's just like talking and walking.
The animation.
Talking. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I think the art is fantastic. But
the art is good, but like it's just regular walking and talking.
Yeah.
They save all that flourish and shit for the action.
It felt like I was looking at an animated version of fucking Sunset Overdrive for a second there.
Oh yeah. It's, animated version of Sunset Overdrive is pretty much Spider-Verse.
Sure, I'd say this is a little closer, but sure. Just the tone of it.
I guess coloring, but Sunset Overdrive just has the energy of.
Because it's like you have a bunch of people coming after him, and it's like kind of like the zombie-ish way of like how the mob of paparazzi was just after him. It felt very much like the zombies in Sunset Overdrive, where it's like whatever you do, you're jumping around, you're doing a bunch of wacky shit, trying to get away from him. Especially the way that once he like punches them and gets through him, he gets a couple coins. It's like, yeah, very arcadey, very fun. I love the way that was. That was great.
We're just talking about fucking inspirations from the movie. Sunset Overdrive is definitely taken in terms of like it's definitely
it had to probably take from that Scott Pilgrim punk style. Absolutely. I do want to say when you talk about the through line of the alternate ideas that they went with in Scott Pilgrim,
I forgot to meet this whatever.
The alternate takes that they decide to go with in Scott Pilgrim, I love the fact that the way that they write this. It all wraps up very well. Everything wraps up very well together. Scott vanishes. Obviously, you have young Neil, who gets impacted with writing, with this written thing that just gets plopped down on his desk. That becomes a production of Scott Pilgrim, which is again sort of like a fourth wall joke, But simultaneously, it's like no, this impacts, fully. This none of these threads are left alone, is what I'm trying to say. All these threads tie together in some way by the end of the series entirely. And I think it's just brilliantly written how it's a completely new thread of a story. It's not even really just only an adaptation. It's a completely new thread, and they still didn't leave anything undone. It's all followed through very well.
In a way, it's kind of a murder mystery too.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this kind. I like the kind of writing, and it's
when you're following Ramona through all this, and it's like it's a murder mystery. She's crossing off names on the list, going through, and instead of killing them, it's like you're more sort of therapeutically comforting and releasing the stress of what happened between them. I love that. I think that every relationship needs that.
Because here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing. Modern murder mysteries are predictable because it's only one of two things. It's either it was suicide or everyone had a stake in it. That's how modern murder mysteries are written.
Yeah.
So I knew it had to be one of those. It's just a matter of how they're gonna bring it all together. And it's like I knew at some point it's like, okay, it's not the evil Lexus, it's Scott himself. Somehow it's Scott himself, but the way they brought it together was still really good.
Yeah, there's so many moments, by the way. You talk about referencing the game itself or the beat 'em up style of the game. Obviously, throughout all the verses or most of the verses moments where you have those battles, they start out and they then go back to at certain points of these battles, which are fan-fucking-tastic.
Oh, yeah.
Not only obviously the whatever beginning, but throughout every one of those battles or any sort of rapid pace moment, that's the real show-off of animation. You've got a lot of fluid, awesome combat sequences that are fun and show off and also present the characters very well. They present they're not just obviously, every one of them has a flair personality between them when they're fighting. It's not just, we're going to use sort of some generic style for all of them. Every one of them has a personality when they're in the battle, and I think it's great. And obviously, you have the X's that also definitely have a lot of personality too, and I love what they do again with the X's here.
The whole time I was waiting for fuck. Oh yeah, shit.
Were you waiting for Scott to come back? What were you about to say?
I just lost my train of thought again. Go ahead. Shit. How did I lose that? All right. I'm gonna remember it.
No, but yeah, just I love again the journey that we have with them. Obviously, Ramona. The Ramona again is more of the main character, but I think that obviously that's important for this run of the series. It's very important because if you've seen Scott Pilgrim, if you know about Scott Pilgrim, you probably already know the journey that Scott is meant to go on. So I love the fact that again we get instead a take of Ramona. Going through and dealing with all of these exes in the way that she sort of broke up with all of them. That yes, they're angry, but the way that you defuse that is obviously through just talking about it, expressing that. And again, I love I love the fight in the rental store. I think it's just that one felt like the most. It's not the most genuine. I mean, like, well, maybe no. I'm sorry. They're all genuine. All of them are genuine, but that fight in the rental store between Roxy and Ramona is like it's just a true. It's a true moment between two people that just split off. And,
it's one of the moments that showcase how they play around with the world of Scott Pilgrim. How like the rules are just kind of loose. Like they're going into the movie, but at the same time they're not out of reality.
Yeah, the fight too.
Yes.
Yeah, the fighting too. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's another. It's very special, and I love the idea of again, I haven't seen anything Scott really in a long time, but the idea of like sparks comes in through any of this, and it's very beautiful the way that they go through with sparks, and it's like you have that moment where. Roxy, I believe, kisses Kim. It's like, hey, might as well try. And it's like, I like the idea of what harm is it? You just could kiss. Okay, yeah, nothing happened. Okay. Let's move on. It's not a big deal. We're not going to blow it out of proportion like some places would blow it out of some places would blow it out of proportion in modern television. It's like, no, it just happened and move on.
I remember I was going to say,
I do love that because yeah, like having a moment of like curiosity, that is also very human. I like that as well.
Oh yeah. I remember I was gonna say the whole time I was waiting for them to use the game soundtrack because the game has a legendary fucking soundtrack.
Yeah.
And they finally do in the last episode. They were holding out. They were just holding out forever. They knew people were waiting for it. That game is like as popular as the books and the movie. The track they use is "Come On Down." From it, they use it during the fight with Future Scott, right. Which is a great song.
You mean old Scott, very old Scott or whatever.
Yeah, Future Scott.
Yeah,
even further Future Scott is what they call it.
Gotcha.
It sounds like this because I can play it because this is a video game music. We don't get fucking.
Yeah. Nice.
I was like, that's a good choice. That's a good song.
Absolutely.
By the way, if you should put that soundtrack on your fucking MP3 player. You just listen to the game soundtrack. I think you'll love it.
It's awesome. No, the game soundtrack is great. You don't need to tell me twice. I do like again. Episode 5 is like. I love how episode 5 is shot documentary style.
Yes.
And it's an awesome take where you're getting again. You're getting just a different take with all of these characters, or a different angle with all these characters that we've built up with from episode 1 through 4. And I do love that, all of the documentary crew is still shocked about things that, seem very, normal now in this series, where it's if it's sort of things that wouldn't make sense or out of the blue or kind of magical, they're like, what the fuck? I do love that, the director, who's been there the whole time, it's just steadily getting annoyed between the romance, the immediate romance of vegan.
Yes,
and
I love the ending of when the vampire guy comes down you're fired, and his jaw drops and he explodes in coins.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
and that's again the run lines in your trailer episode. And again, I think there's something very very cool about Wallace. Wallace is a goat. He's awesome.
He's great in the book.
I love the charm. And you said what?
He's great in the book.
That's cool. Again, this is the type of...
You get a lot of character in the book. That's the thing you don't really get from the movies, you get from the book.
Yeah, this is the type of thing that's only going to accelerate my interest in going and checking out the book now, because again, I had no... Scott Pilgrim was there for me, but now it's one of those things where it definitely accelerated my interest. But and of course the thing about, Ramona through this whole time is trying to figure out, all right, who made the portal? How did Scott get sort of teleported, not killed? Like, who did this? And, I love, again, like you said, the murder mystery element is great because we're going through, we learn about a lot of these villains or these X's, but we learn about them in a different way. And also, like, at the same time, they're still around in the world. Like, they're still involved in the activities of what's going on around Ramona while she's trying to figure this out, while also, Scott's friends and his surroundings are not ignored either. Every character seems to still get something where they come back in some way, shape.
Oh yeah, and again,
throughout the rest of the series.
Yeah, again, even if it does the same predictable thing for a modern murder mystery, it still writes a story well. That's all I look for now, because it's just like, I don't know, it seems like modern murder mysteries don't want to write one culprit anymore. It just has to be like, everybody kind of had a stake. No, it was just it was the victim the whole time.
Yeah, I just think it's very...
No, I'm not saying like every modern murder mystery does it, but like it seems like most are doing it.
Yeah, I will say, like, is it witty and well executed that you can write in a way where everyone is involved, essentially? Like, it ties a knot for everyone to be involved. That's smart writing. It's good.
Yeah, if you write the explanation well.
Yeah, it's good that you did that. But if it's been done a billion times already, I'm kind of tired of it. And I like the different way that this is impacted. This is essentially another multiverse movie. But you don't realize it until, I believe, like, episode, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So,
What's funny about Knives Out, I kind of did both, where it was like, everybody had a stake of it. And then the victim did it. And then the victim did it to himself.
You said what?
What's funny about... I have to repeat it. What's funny about Knives Out is it did kind of both, where it's like, everybody had a stake in it. And then the victim did it himself.
Yeah. And again, like, I think that's...
They did both.
Yeah, I think that's witty writing, but it's...
It's still fun the way they did it, though, so that's all.
Exactly. Yeah, let's see, so...
I like where it ends. It's just like, it is a wraparound ending, but like, it does have a cliffhanger, but I'm like, I'm good. This is a good sequel. I mean, sure, if you want to have more, these characters are fun to hang around. If you want to have more misadventures, fine. But in terms of the story, I just don't need any more. I'm kind of satisfied. I'm more than satisfied with this. I was satisfied with the original story, but, like, this one is even better because, like, in hindsight, the evil X's aren't bad guys. They're just trying to either get back at Ramona or get back with Ramona.
Yeah, it's just...
it does answer a question. What happens if they just win? What happens if, because, like, we know what happens if, like, I mean, both the movie and the book does give us the scenario of what happens if Gideon wins, and then, Scott kind of redoes the whole thing. But what happens if, like, one of the middle guy wins? What happens if the first guy wins?
Right.
That's a scenario that's, like, we wonder about, and the show answers that. I like that.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I got no further questions.
Yeah,
sure, season 2. I'm curious if you can do. Don't put salt on what you already got. It's good enough. But if you think you got another story, I'll see. But I am satisfied. You don't need another one. But okay.
Yeah, I think the idea of he vanishes from the show for a good 4 or 5 episodes. And we're following more of Ramona, and she does feel impacted by that, and she is sulking about it, but then takes on the initiative to sort of figure it out. I think that just builds the idea of this romance very well.
Yeah.
I've talked about already, I love what Elemental does with its story to build that romance. And I think they do it very well. I love what they do with this because by the end, and obviously we get to a point where it's like, no, they're held by this sort of blockade where they can't kiss. I do love, again, it's very similar to Elemental where it's like, not saying that they're the same at all. I'm just saying it's a similar thing where they're blocked for by some way, shape, or form. They're blocked from doing an action that would make them feel both better. And I love that idea because it feels like, they both are equally, it shows that both of them are equally, in love in that way. And you want that between the two of those characters. It doesn't feel rushed or accelerated. And by the time when Scott's back and I love, everything about, he comes back, he explains, he apologizes to Knives.
Apologize to everyone.
Yeah, he does for everyone. But like, I love that. Like immediately, like
Everyone.
like
Yeah.
I know, but immediately it's like Ramona's like, man, like all right, now I love like hug and like yeah.
And everyone here has a better outcome than they do in the original book. Everyone has a happy ending now.
Yeah, and it's great to see, and I think that this is again, like when I see the way that it's like, man, this leaves you feel warm and fuzzy. It makes you feel great about like rewatching it again. I could watch this over and over and over. Like I could watch this probably in 2 months. I'd have no problem with it.
You don't
I'd watch
realize
this in like 5 months. I have no problem with it. This is a very rewatchable thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's a great love story, but it's also, like you said, a very great murder mystery. It's a great journey. It's a great looking thing. It has great music. It has great characters. It has great depth with those characters. It has a fun time, and you can get behind almost everyone, and you can sort of see and define all of those characters. So there's a lot to love here. It's fantastic, and I can't complain about almost anything. I don't think there's anything to. This is like peak 10 out of 10. I don't think there's anything to complain about here, and it's very special and it's very lovable. And you don't really know where it's going until you get that sort of time warp, or you see old Scott. That's when you kind of get get an idea of where maybe.
Oh yeah, like the title is, you find out by watching, the title is very literal, because it's not called Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the show. It's called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and he literally gets the fuck out of there as soon after the first episode.
Yeah.
And like I like the title.
And I love, by the way, the trailers didn't reveal anything. A+.
The first set.
Oh.
I didn't. Luckily, I was avoiding every advertisement.
So those trailers. So other trailers revealed it.
Huh?
Other trailers revealed it.
I was looking up trailers after the fact, and there were some that that show Scott is dead and shit. Some advertising for that.
Come on, dude.
I don't know how much Netflix distributed those, but there was some like that. There was like a teaser for that showed them where it's just a scene of Scott's funeral.
Yeah.
So it's so yeah, it's they reveal some stuff, and I think the synopsis reveals it too, where Scott Pilgrim fucking dies.
Yeah.
But like just like things I'm excited for. After, I think I just avoided every advertisement, because like as soon as I got the announcement, I was like,
yeah.
I'm not seeing. I know I'm gonna watch this. I'm not seeing a single frame of anything they're showing. Every time I get an advertisement, I'm like, turn it off.
Nope.
I know I'm gonna watch it anyway. Fuck
nope.
it. It's like the intro sequence came out. Okay, bye. I'll watch the intro sequence
when it's out.
Yeah,
I'll see.
But I do like the intro sequence.
I think it's classic anime open.
Yeah, after I've like I did skip it for like the in between episodes, because it was like I don't need to see the intro anymore. But like what I don't skip is like I love seeing that monkey logo walk across the screen, and then I like seeing the logo pulsate to the music, and that's when I press the skip button.
I also love it's not the intro, but it could easily be the Ramona when she's just doing new hair dye.
It's like a little video game intro sequence. That was cool. I think they could have added a twist to it or make it a little bit faster, because it's really the same sequence every time.
I like the cat meowing. I like the idea. I don't care. It was by the way, what's cool is someone compiled all of them together in one, and it is like it's adorable. It's like you have like basically like 6 or 7 of them, and I think it's cool.
It's cool. I think there should have been spin on it, or like they should have made a joke about like. I think it would have been like something I just randomly thought up is like, what if it was like Steven Stills had that sequence. Like it's like it's very like anime feminine of like Ramona to do her hair. So like it would be funny if like someone a man adult character like Steven Stills just had that same sequence.
I feel you.
Or just like watching his hair. I like it was fine, but like I think they could
just because there was no spin on it.
There's no like it was just like its own intro sequence in a way, and it's like it just reminded me what TV shows do back in the day just to save animation, and it's like they didn't really need to. It was just kind of a reference to that, but at the same time, it was like too straight. The references played too straight. So I mean, it's like they could have had some kind of spin on it, or it's do something different besides change the color of the hair. It's both a played straight reference and a way of them saving animation to be real.
Yeah, I do like the idea. By the way, before we wrap this up, I do like the idea that old man. Very old Scott, or future Scott, very far from the future, whatever it is. Very far future Scott is very much, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like, Yeah, look, you can have that sort of anxiety or, like the anxiety of like going through with that pain, that feeling of pain, any of it. Like that's it's a genuine reason to have that,
hit you hard, didn't it?
That hesitate, what?
No, I said it hit you hard, didn't it?
Yeah, no, it's genuine. It's a golden thing to write into the show, and I think that it's executed very well. And I love the way that it's like, obviously very future Ramona comes in, and it's like, like, hey, this is.
It's not that serious. You just stop calling and shit. You're just going through some shit.
And it gives this idea of, like, hey, like, it's not. Everyone needs that sort of wake up call for a moment sometimes, and
it's realistically observed for like a relationship.
Yeah, and I think that's the genuine thing about this is a lot of this is just, even though there's a lot of over exaggeration and drama, a lot of it is just realistic observations of relationship moments that are expressed through fluid animation and great art.
Yeah, I can I'm not a relationship guy, but like I don't.
Yeah, because you're a bachelor. There you are. Whoa.
Yeah, I go out with your mom from time to time.
Whoa.
I mean, I'm asexual.
Whoa, he thought about that.
I'm aromantic and asexual.
He's old as shit.
I'm asexual and aromantic, I can imagine like if someone who's going through a breakup had sci-fi powers, same as Scott would, they would do the same shit.
Yeah.
They would go back in time, probably stop themselves from dating or change something in the time-space continuum, or like try to beat up their older self and probably beat up their like fucking crew of friends from back in the day of that relation, like anyone who was involved in that relationship going haywire.
Yeah, I love the idea.
It's like it is realistically observed and from like a science fiction lens too. It's it's fun. It's just fun. And again, love the Virtual Boy reference.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
I love the title of the episodes. The last episode is called "The World vs. Scott Pilgrim."
Yes. And I think it was, again, obviously all video game fun, but again.
Also, by the way, that last fight is a huge video game reference. That Scott is dressed just like Ryu, and I think that it's a deep reference. It's because in a game called Zero's Wrath, a Capcom game, there's DLC where you do fight Ryu on the moon, and that is like
that's like
it has like some like shots that are kind of identical.
Art style looks very much in that series,
Street Fighter. Have you seen Zero's Wrath?
On the moon,
you know what I'm talking about?
I believe so. Yeah, on the moon, like the cult, like the way that it's laid out.
Because it's a PS3 360 Capcom game.
Gotcha.
And it's very story driven. Good game though. You have a PS3, I'll let you borrow it. Oh,
thank you so much. Yeah.
It's like a playable anime. It functions like anime. After you beat a chapter, it plays like a fucking preview for the next chapter, like an anime.
Fantastic.
And shit. I really recommend it. But there is a DLC where you fight Ryu on the moon, and it's like Scott is dressed like Ryu. They're on the moon. There's some identical shots that look like a Zero's Wrath. That is a deep cut reference to a fucking obscure ass game.
And again, I just think like that just.
I got immediately. I'm like, wow, they're doing that reference. This is just for me. Who the fuck is gonna get this?
This is just shows you the value of how well they crafted this entire story. And again, there's just a couple other things I do want to mention. I do love that again the journey with, I believe, Gideon, who becomes Gordon, right? Who is actually Gordon. Gideon's journey is like an interesting one because of course he's on top and then he takes this break. Seemingly. And I love the way it's played because obviously this is during that murder mystery point where it's like, who did it? And for a second through that episode where they focus on him and Julie, it's like, it feels for a moment like, these two might, they might be playing some sort of suspicious hand the way that they're like, okay, whatever. But no, we learn no, he's just like very... He has nothing to do with it. Though I love the way that they're just very childish. It's him.
They're a fun power couple.
They're a great power couple, and I love that the way. They're a great power couple, and when he's slipping, she's right there to be like, this is stupid, And I love when he was like, I love you, and she like at the door, and he's like, I fucking love you you too. Like slams the door. Beautiful, beautiful. Again, it's just these are just genuine observable moments that are just actual dude. This is the thing. Is like, how is it that this series? This is 8 episodes. That's that are half an hour each. And you're telling me that a $250 million film Frozen 2 or Raya or fucking Wish couldn't have writing anywhere close to this? Who the fuck are you?
There's a lot of, who the fuck you're comparing to bad Disney.
No,
bad
I'm just comparing. I bet you this had a fraction of the budget.
So did a lot of movies. Again, Disney's just fucking up. That's it. There's a lot of shit there's a lot of good shit you can draw examples to. There's a lot of theatrical shit you can draw examples to from this year.
Yeah.
It's just Disney's just like, I want to get back on Disney again.
No, I don't. No, I'm not.
They're fucking up.
I just want to use that as an example because this is throughout, straight through. Like, it knows how to connect everything. There is no slippage. It does not leave tethers. And it wraps itself up well.
I know. I'm just no offense, but like throughout,
I know.
A lot of you've been bringing up Wish a lot ever since you saw Wish for a lot.
Yeah, I know, but why wouldn't you?
I know, but I get the point. Wish is bad.
Mark.
Yes.
Yeah. If someone had $200 million, why is it that the writing for this trumps it times 10? That's all I'm saying. Like, that's all my point is this is like undisputedly gonna probably win my StreamBlast
the Streamy. It's going to win the Streamy
because it's
let's call it the Streamy Award.
Well, maybe we might, but
it's gonna win the Streamy.
That sounds a little bad. I don't know if
what how's it? What the Streamy?
You saw the list. I already wrote it on the calendar.
What do you mean the Streamy sounds bad?
It does. It sounds like a disrespectful name. The Streamy.
What do you mean the Streamy?
Well, all right, we're waiting too much time.
How's it sound? The Streamy is not like
stop.
Think about piss.
Yes.
I'm thinking about water.
Same thing.
It's a stream. No, fuck you.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Technically, our urine. Technically, like we talked about months ago, Mark, the urine is filtrated.
God, you're on this again.
You started.
Turn the podcast off. It's over. Bye.
Anyway, guys, this is again. Netflix, we've talked about over and over and over.
Yeah,
is
easy 10 out of 10. This is good.
This 10 out of 10. It's amazing. I think.
I'm all Scott Pilgrim now. I am satisfied with Scott Pilgrim content. Great movie, great books, great game, great show.
By the way, one of the rare examples where there's nothing that's flawed, really.
Yes. Except for you.
Oh, thanks. But I'm not Scott Pilgrim.
Yes, you're not.
So why the fuck did
don't ever call yourself
So
Scott
why the
Pilgrim.
fuck did you even connect the dots on that?
I just don't like you.
Cool.
But anyway, but yeah, it's just great content all around.
All right, guys. I think. Oh God.
Great.
Yeah. All right.
And
I forgot. I stopped talking.
Great. That's better than Scott Pilgrim. Honestly, fuck it. Scott Pilgrim's 1 out of 10. That Candy Cane Lane 10 out of 10.
I want to do a quick review of Candy Cane Lane. It is probably Amazon's most hyped sort of winter show. They've advertised.
Show? I thought it was a movie.
Movie, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Movie for Thursday Night Football. They've advertised this everywhere. They've advertised this on smart TVs. They've advertised this all over the place. They want people to know that this is out there. This is the new sort of what you could call comedy film that stars Eddie Murphy. It's on Amazon Prime, obviously, and it is terrible. It is dog shit. Here's the thing. What sucks is Eddie Murphy is a funny guy. He's been funny ever since he, was on SNL and made jokes in the 80s. Like, he is a hilarious guy. He's had movies that are classics, that are fantastic and hilarious. He's obviously been out of the scene for a while in terms of major features, but, if you know who Eddie Murphy is, it's like whether that's through spin-offs. Whether that's through spin-offs, whether that's through secondary roles on Shrek, or like you had mentioned, Mark Mulan, or it's his major roles in Coming to America and Beverly Hills Cop. He is a significant comic in the world of American, in American pop culture. So very valuable guy.
Before his name was like fucking shamed by America, people were considering him like as the next Bill Cosby. To the point where even Bill Cosby had to comment on that, nah, he's not as good as me.
No, he's better. Well, yeah, he's better, but the problem is now he's attached to himself. Look, there's even Daddy Daycare, right? Daddy Daycare, I think, is pretty genuine. It's a fun little family
I think I
movie.
saw that. Yeah.
I remember that. That was a movie that I grew up with as a kid. And there's obviously Dr. Dolittle, so many movies that he's a part of for our childhood. So,
Oh, yeah, I remember Dr. Dolittle.
So, yeah.
I like his role as the psychic characters in Strike and Mushu.
yeah.
Yeah, like the movies I saw him in, he's pretty good. He's all right. I'm just not a big. I don't follow I don't follow him that much, so he's just sort of there for me.
Right.
Because I remember like what was it called? White People, Funny People. What the fuck was that movie?
I don't know. The one from last year, right?
Yes.
That was also a misstep, I'd say.
That was, what was it called? White People. I think it was called. It was something. Like
I don't think it was White People.
It was something like that.
One sec. God,
Eddie Murphy.
It was a Netflix movie. Yes.
Yep.
Netflix. Eddie Murphy. You People.
Oh, you.
You said White People. Like,
Yeah, I know. I'm like, fucking close.
Right,
It was a bunch of Rachel jokes.
Yeah.
I remember you calling me like, yeah, we're gonna do a review of You People,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I don't have any interest in it, but it has Eddie Murphy, and it's like, I don't care about Eddie Murphy. He's good in Shrek and Mulan.
Well, again,
I don't really follow him.
I know,
like,
but you're picking out two when he's a secondary character in two examples. It's like, that's like, you don't. I don't think you've watched very recently any of his stuff where he's actually a main character.
No,
but I think
really.
if you go back, all I'm saying is like if you go back, you look at Beverly Hills Cop, you look at some of his sort of rise to fame. It's like this guy was fucking hilarious.
I can imagine.
He was a genuinely funny guy that. Recently, I just want to get through this so we can get to Turbo. So I'm just going to wrap this up rather quickly.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna say, I get that. I just his humor his type of humor never really interests me enough to follow him. But I can understand why people like him.
Yes.
So that's why I never cared to watch You People. But the fucking last year. Also, I saw I remember I looked at the trailer. You People. Not a fan of those jokes.
Yeah. No. So that's
white people we like.
Yes,
That's it.
Yes. Yeah. And that gets to my point though, which is unfortunately the thing about Eddie Murphy is he's the reason why people don't recognize him as much as he did is kind of like Will Smith had a lull between like at a certain point in like the 2010s until about I'd say when he came back as Deadshot in Suicide Squad. It's like Eddie Murphy has been out of like the film game. He's made a lot of money.
Wait, what? Wait, you said you talking about Eddie Murphy?
I said did I say Eddie? When I'm saying kind of like when Will Smith was.
Oh, okay.
Well, kind of like I'm saying. Okay, let me stick that.
Maybe I missed it. Okay.
When Will Smith had that little gap of time when he wasn't on top, sort of because he was big. It was like I Am Legend and all these movies where he was like big star, and then at a certain point kind of stalled, wasn't there, and then came back, and it was like movies like Focus, and he was Deadshot in Suicide Squad, and there were a couple other movies and I think it was Concussion, and like he had that sort of rise again or whatever, were just to bring himself back into acclaim again. Until whatever happened recently, we won't talk about. But Eddie Murphy, it's like he was huge for 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then like in the 2000s, he kind of did a lot of family comedy movies, and then after that, it's like faded away from like the light. Had a lot of money, didn't need to do anything. We saw him again in like Tower Heist. Tower Heist was with Ben Stiller and Matthew Broderick and a number of guys. That was a kind of shining light that he could still be very funny when he needed to be, and so it's like, all right, cool to see him back. But then after that, it's like again, you don't see him a lot, and he comes back lately, and it's like Coming to America 2, not really as funny. You People, not really funny, and this. So what it seems like is he's attaching himself to things where, unfortunately, I think he's still funny, but I think that he either is phoning it in because of name recognition, or he just doesn't, the role doesn't ask him to be funny, because it's like, not like, I don't know what's up with this movie, but it's terrible. This movie, it was my mom, my sister, and I were watching it. I think it was Friday, and it was an absolute lol fest. Like, the idea is essentially that they're competing, kind of like the movie.
They liked
it. What?
Did they like? Oh, you're gonna get to that.
So the movie essentially is that they the neighborhood that he's in sort of competes for a prize for they compete in Christmas decorating their house for a grand prize. This year the prize is like $10,000 or something, or $100,000 or something. So it's a much bigger deal. And Eddie Murphy loses his job, so he takes on a contract, or he takes on this contract with this weird store that, you know, says sign a contract, and he gets this really big Christmas thing, and, you know, the Christmas thing goes haywire, and, you know, he tries to bring it back, and he didn't sign the contract, and so things go haywire, and now everyone in the family is impacted, and, you know, it causes trouble and doom. It's a very generic plot, and also all the threads all over the place. So instead of following one key plot, they have several key stories and threads that they don't close. It's a mess. It's chaotic. It's not funny at times. It's very boring. It's very bland. Like, I don't know what they were doing with this. Some of these moments, it's like they were shooting a scene, and it's like, this scene isn't even funny at all. Like, there's some stuff where you have like CGI, like small figurines that are moving around like as real people, and it's good looking, but what they're saying isn't funny or isn't interesting and is irrelevant. Like, nothing here is necessary. And at the end of the day, this movie just is very forgettable. I would think if you want to put this on, sure, put it on so that your family goes to sleep. That's what you put it on for. It's terrible. Eddie Murphy is not funny in this.
Watch it right now.
And the only reason you watch an Eddie Murphy movie, yes, the only reason you watch an Eddie Murphy movie is to laugh. And the problem is, lately, Eddie Murphy does not bring the laughs. So I think Amazon Prime is going to reroute from sort of leaning on Eddie Murphy. They relied on him for Coming to America 2. That did not work out. Obviously, Netflix relied on him for You People, and that was really kind of a bad, like, yeah, right, like you said, Mark, like, yeah, white people are this, white, it's like, not really the greatest medium for that. And now you have this, which is just a steaming pile of absolute garbage. Just a mess, and very disappointing. So yeah, that's my review of that.
And for the holidays, watch it today.
No, for the holidays, guys, go ahead and watch Scott Pilgrim. That's going to be my...
No, watch this. No, watch Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
Fuck Scott Pilgrim. This movie's better.
Absolutely. So guys,
He agrees!
Fuck. This
Even the camera can take it.
Stop. I'm just gonna, guys. So this has been StreamBlast. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Even the camera fell asleep. Goddamn.
Yes, indeed. So of course, you check out Scott Pilgrim. You can find me at Bryan the Baltimorean. That's Bryan the. You can find me at Bryan the Baltimorean on Instagram. You can find me on @Democracy, ATHEMOCRACY.com, and you can find me on ScreenBlastPodcast.com right here, of course. And of course, where can they find you, Mark?
K9 Biscuits, that's K9BISKUTS.com.
All right, guys, we appreciate you for watching.
Logging out, everybody.